Coming up on State of Events, the latest on the Ebola outbreak. I'm Sheree Honeycutt, and I'll show you what SF State is doing to be prepared.
And I'm Leslie McKinney. Do you ever think about how much food we waste every day? The city of Oakland is doing something about it. I'll tell you how next on State of Events.
Hello and welcome to State of Events. I'm Victoria Alanese.
And I'm Rocky Mathers. Thanks for joining us. The Ebola virus continues to spread in Africa, and now there are cases in the U.S. In this live report, Sheree Honeycutt has the latest on the Ebola crisis and what San Francisco State is doing to prepare.
Thanks, Rocky. Ebola has been around since the 1970s, but it wasn't until July that it came to the U.S. I spoke with the director of SF State's Health Center to see what their plan is. This is the face of Ebola in Liberia. It is desperate, it is widespread, and it is deadly. Ebola is a virus that causes hemorrhagic syndrome. This means that the virus causes the walls of capillaries to separate. That is what causes bleeding internally and can lead to shock and death. Ebola is not an airborne disease. You can only catch it by coming into contact with bodily fluids, such as sweat, saliva, and blood. With cases of Ebola now in the U.S., San Francisco State is doing what it can to get the word out to students in case they feel they may have symptoms.
On the Student Health Services website has got an Ebola page, and if you go to the very front page of the Student Health Services website, there's a link to that page, and we're continually updating that page with information.
The university also has a protocol in place if someone feels they may have Ebola. The health center tells me that they're taking the Center for Disease Control's guidelines very seriously. The health center did say it's unlikely that we would see Ebola on campus. The CDC reports that there are around 9,000 cases of Ebola worldwide, with 4,500 deaths. 3 cases are in the U.S., with 1 fatality so far. Live in the studio, I'm Sheree Honeycutt for State of Events. Back to you.
Thanks, Sheree. Although Ebola is continuing to spread, there is something else health officials say we should still be concerned about. Flu season is back, and the CDC is encouraging everyone to get vaccinated. The CDC estimates 36,000 people die from influenza in the U.S. each year, but say that number can decrease with more vaccinations. Even though Ebola is currently the most talked about viruses, doctor insists the flu is something we shouldn't ignore.
There has been 1 person who's died in America of Ebola. We lose about 36,000 people a year from flu. So definitely, flu is something that, we should always be concerned about.
Earlier this month, clinics across the U.S. started offering flu vaccinations. Vaccines come in 2 different forms, a shot or nasal spray. The CDC suggests anyone over 6 months old should get vaccinated.
From avoiding ailments to taking action, there is a lot happening at San Francisco State. Reporters Bianca de la Paz explains how professors have turned picket lines into dollar signs.
Yes, Rocky. Faculty from all 23 California state universities took a stand for better working conditions. Their efforts must have done the trick because the 2 sides have reached a tentative agreement. I was able to catch some of that action here at San Francisco State.
Education is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back!
Just weeks ago, professors and lecturers from San Francisco State joined together in a picket line to mark their 99th day working without a contract. Marie Drennan is a professor at SFSU. She says it's very simple. Times change. Inflation happens. No one can live off of a contract drafted nearly a decade ago.
If you have faculty who can't afford to live here while they're teaching, then they'll leave. And it's not even a raise, really, that we're asking for. We haven't had a raise for over 7 years.
Sheila Tully is playing a huge part in negotiations. She tells me she hopes administration will hear their warning loud and clear. And if a peaceful picket isn't enough...
Well, we'll escalate. We've got actions at Sacramento State in November planned and in the South.
So far, no classes have been canceled due to picket lines.
I will say I was impressed with how many students picked up a sign and joined their teachers. The next step will be a vote for approval by CSU faculty. Reporting live in San Francisco, I'm Bianca de la Paz for State of Events. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Bianca. Global warming has been a heavily debated topic over the last decades, and now that California is suffering one of the most severe droughts on record, people are starting to worry about the impact of climate change. Our reporter Michelle Quintero attended a forum at SFSU to learn the steps people are taking to fight global warming. Michelle?
Victoria, according to scientists, we are heavily to blame for climate change. Since the start of the Industrial Revolution, the amount of greenhouse gases going into the atmosphere has steadily increased. This is why environmentalist groups are working hard to spread the word, with hopes of preventing climate change from getting worse. Bill McKibben is the co-founder of 350.org, an organization that looks to educate people on climate change. He has gone around the world spreading his message, and last week it was SFSU's turn to take it in.
We know now, as we didn't 25 years ago, that the chemistry of seawater is changing extremely fast as it absorbs carbon from the atmosphere. The ocean's about 30% more acidic than it was 50 years ago, which is an astonishing change in a short time.
350.org Bay Area hopes to raise awareness, and to do that, they need the support of the community.
We have information, we have meetings, we have divestment committees, we have fracking committees, anti-fracking committees, and we're a real volunteer-driven group. There is nobody funding us.
But others are skeptical of global warming. The Oregon Institute of Science and Medicine state, there is no convincing scientific evidence that human release of carbon dioxide, methane, or other greenhouse gases is causing or will, in the foreseeable future, cause catastrophic heating of the Earth's atmosphere and disruption of the Earth's climate. But some organizations don't agree, such as Fossil Free SFSU.
So what we work to do is to take the power away from fossil fuel companies by taking away those investments.
According to scientists, the consequences of global warming include drought, severe hurricanes, and massive fires. But there is good news. By making small adjustments such as changing a light bulb, using less water, and recycling, the effects of global warming can be slowed down. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Michelle Quintero, State of Events. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Michelle. Another way to help our planet is related to the food we eat. Food waste is a problem worldwide, but especially in America. In order to raise awareness about food waste, the City of Oakland hosted an event called Feeding the 5,000. Leslie McKinney shows us just how much this event helped the community. Leslie?
Thank you, Rocky. Feeding the 5,000 took place in downtown Oakland. I learned so much about how much food we waste, how to cook with leftovers, and more efficient ways to shop for groceries. Founder of Feeding the 5,000, Tristram Stewart of the UK strives to improve the environmental and social impact of food production. Feeding the 5,000 prepares a meal for 5,000 people cooked with food that would have been otherwise thrown away.
America has the biggest food recovery program in the world by a long, long way, and I'm going to take home a whole load of lessons that I've learned this week talking to organisations in this space, and I'm going to apply them in Britain and in Europe where we're working on this problem. And people here have answered the problems that we have 20 years ago. So I think it's a really great cross-fertilisation thing, and it's also symbolic. We live on one planet.
In February of 2014, the USDA released a study stating that 31% of the available food supply in America goes uneaten. That is equal to 133 billion pounds of food. The estimated retail value of food loss is about 160 billion, but not only food is wasted. Producing food requires water and releases emissions into the air. In addition to the free meal, 3,000 pounds of groceries are given away. Chef demonstrations were also provided on how to prepare healthy, sustainable, and tasty food. These food waste awareness festivals first began in the United Kingdom and now occur all over Europe. Oakland hosts the very first Feeding the 5,000 awareness festival in the United States. So bottom line, shop smarter, get creative with leftovers, and think about compost. Every step you make will help everyone around you. I'm Leslie McKinney with State of Events. Back to you in the studio.
Still to come on State of Events, a new way to get to SFO. Sammy Mamo will show you how.
And don't want to pay high prices to park in the city? We'll introduce you to some apps that will save you money and time.
I'm Christy Reno. Coming up on State of Events, how many times a day do you check your phone. That story and more coming up after the break.
Small businesses are facing expensive energy bills. Much of this expense is generated from lighting. In fact, inefficient lighting can cost small business owners more than they may realize. Don't let your lights burn more than electricity. Let smart lights help you save money, and let the money work for you, not your energy bills. Smart lights, brighten your bottom line. A joint program of the cities of Berkeley and Oakland.
Welcome back to State of Events. If you've ever needed a ride to SFO, it just got a lot easier to find one. Reporter Sammy Mamo has more on the story.
Thank you, Victoria. An agreement has been reached between SFO and UberX, Lyft, and Sidecar. These companies have already revolutionized the transportation industry, and now, with a little bit of help, they've made history.
San Francisco International Airport is now the first airport in the state to sign a permit with the Transportation Network Company. Last week, SFO formed an agreement with one of the smaller companies, Sidecar. The new deal will generate $3.85 per ride to and from the airport. San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee commended the two on the agreement, saying congratulations to Sidecar and SFO for reaching this historic agreement, the first in California and one of the first in the United States. Following the announcement of the deal with Sidecar, transportation network giants UberX and Lyft have come to similar agreements with SFO this week. With that agreement, SFO becomes the first airport in the country to have agreements with both UberX and Lyft, both of which have made news in recent months for dropping off and picking up customers at the airport, which, prior to this agreement, was not allowed. SFO Director John Martin has said he is proud of the decision, adding this gives customers at SFO more choice without compromising our focus on safety and security.
We don't know yet if these options will spread to the other Bay Area airports. According to the San Jose Mercury News, Norman Mineta's San Jose International Airport is in talks with these companies. Oakland International denied comment. Reporting live in San Francisco State, I'm Sammy Mamo, State of Events.
Thanks, Sammy. If you drive around San Francisco, you know how hard it is to find parking. New startup companies like Cirque and like Lux Valet are offering more options. These companies use smartphones to power valet parking apps. The app connects drivers with those willing to park their car for as low as $15. The service is only available on weekdays and only in certain areas like south of Market, the Financial District, Union Square, and the Marina. More locations are expected to be added.
Those are just a couple apps that you might want to check out. And if your phone bill is through the roof, how about this one? Christy Reno is live in their newsroom to tell us all about it. Christy?
Thanks, Victoria. Our society has become so obsessed with checking their phones. I found some new apps that may help you limit yourself.
Waiting for Muni, in between classes, and even at work. Smartphones. They're everywhere. Sometimes we don't realize how many times a day we are staring at that screen.
How many times a day do you think you use your phone?
Like 40.
That's it?
Maybe more.
Less than 100?
Maybe like 50 or so.
Now, there is a way to know just how much you use your phone. 2 new apps have been released that track phone usage. Checky monitors how many times you unlock your phone and the locations you checked it at, whereas Moment records how many minutes you spend on your phone a day. People think that having an app that tracks usage would actually be helpful to them.
I would, so that I can help, discipline myself or prevent myself from going on my phone.
Both Checky and Moment also have a feature that let you able to track your phone in the locations. I downloaded Checky last week and noticed that I checked my phone 40 times in one day. I was able to cut that number in half because I knew how many times I checked my phone. Both apps are available on iPhone and Android devices. Checky is free for all, but Moment is $4.99. Reporting live in the newsroom for State of Events, I'm Christy Reno. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Christy. I'm a little scared to check how many times I see my phone. Well, if you're looking for an adventure for a great cause, you might want to look into Cotopaxi's Questival. The outdoor gear retailer is hosting its 24-hour outdoor adventure race in the Bay Area this Friday and Saturday. Teams can choose about 200 adventures throughout the city with the hopes of winning an international humanitarian trip. Past Questival challenges have included bug eating, selfies with llamas, and mountain biking. You can catch challengers crossing the finish line at Chrissy Field Saturday night.
Next on State of Events, HBO will offer streaming package, how this may change the way you watch TV.
And later, a celebrity feud is over. Entertainment reporter Erica Cataray has all the details.
Newspapers across the country are shutting down mainly due to the digital age. I'm Diane Tao, and I'll tell you how Bay Area newspapers are staying current. Coming up on State of Events.
We shop at the American Cancer Society Discovery Shops for
designer clothes, household items, and quality collectibles.
I volunteer at the American Cancer Society Discovery Shops to benefit a cure for cancer.
We donate to Discovery Shops where profits go towards cancer research, education, and patient services. Discover your shop.
Discover a cure. Discovery Shops.
Welcome back to State of Events. Streaming services are helping people cut their cable cord. Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, CBS, and now there's one more name in the game.
Sheree Honeycutt gives us a sneak peek at the newest streaming service, coming to a mobile device near you.
Last week, HBO announced they're moving to a new standalone service. This means you won't have to subscribe to their channel to watch their content. Before, to watch HBO, you had to have cable. But now, all you'll need to do is pay monthly and log in. The service is similar to their HBO Go platform released in 2010. HBO Go allows users to watch HBO movies and shows through their computer or mobile devices. With the new pay service option, they'll be up against Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu, which each offer their own standalone services. A study by the research firm SNL Kagan found that in 2013, cable subscribers dropped by 200,000 users. In Netflix's third quarter, they reported over 50 million users worldwide, which means that people really are cord cutting.
It's going to allow people who want to cut the cord to still get their favorite HBO shows. And that's a big deal, especially for Time Warner that owns HBO.
And that's what HBO is hoping to cash in on. Whether it's Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, or Sex and the City, people want their TV shows at the click of a button. The cable company Time Warner says that they are all for the plan. They believe it will open their service up to new markets. Users on Twitter expressed mixed feelings. Michael Uman says 2 great series are not worth $15. And Betsy Hansen says it's about time. So if you want comedy, drama, action, or indie, it's anything but TV. It's HBO. In San Francisco, I'm Sheree Honeycutt for State of Events.
All right, Sheree. That well-publicized feud between two well-known rappers have taken a new turn. Erica Cataray has more on this weekend's entertainment news update.
The fight between Iggy Azalea and Snoop is officially over. The Drop It Like It's Hot rapper made a video apologizing about the situation. As you may recall, the feud started when Snoop posted a controversial photo meme of Iggy on Instagram.
Now, the photo meme was of a child with the caption, "Iggy Azalea, no makeup." Azalea fired back by stating, "Why would you post such a mean pic on Insta when you send your bodyguards to ask me for pictures every time we're at shows together?" She ended by calling him a name and expressing her disappointment. Snoop continued to post memes of the fancy singer. On one, he posts a picture of Iggy alongside Marlon Wayans' character on the movie White Chicks. Wayans got dragged in the argument, but joked about the situation.
I don't think it's a fair comparison. Morning got titties. Morning got titties.
Snoop continued bashing on the female rapper. However, T.I. was the one suspected of playing peacemaker between Azalea and Snoop. Now, Iggy accepted Snoop's apology via Twitter. In other news, Kevin Hart released a video begging a rental car company to not fire one of his fans.
Hey, this message is for National Rental Car. It's been brought to my attention that Kenesha Douglas has been suspended for taking a selfie with me. I'm asking National to please give this woman a pass. I love National. And if I'd have seen me, I would have took a selfie with me too. Come on, have some compassion.
Janisha Bradley Douglas was fired after she stopped the bus she was driving to step out and take a selfie with the comedian. There's been no word from the company regarding Hart's video. Now, Channing Tatum claims he never considered himself a smart person. As he was growing up, Tatum had various learning disorders that lowered his confidence. You may not know this, but the Magic Mike star has dyslexia and ADHD. He shared his story of how he would sometimes get put in classes with autistic kids or in normal classes, but he never quite seemed to fit in either. In high school, the star played football, but says he wished he was pushed more towards the arts. However, after dropping out of college and traveling, he started learning from people in the arts. He worked extra hard because of his learning disabilities and confessed he does read the script slower than other actors. However, according to his mom, he learned to be a sponge and just absorb all the information and learn well from others in the business. Derek Huff recently admitted to being tied up with a gun held to his head. The 5-time Dancing with the Stars champion opened up about his childhood. The ballroom dancer admitted to being a victim of bullying as he was growing up in Utah. Huff said that classmates and neighbors would punch him in the stomach and face. It got so bad that his family had to move.
Huff received the Inspiration Award at the GLSEN Respect Awards. Huff said that after all the hardships of being bullied, it has taught him to forgive. He plans on turning his focus to starting a family now that the dancer is almost 30. You can catch Huff on this season's Dancing with the Stars as he's still in the race to try and win his 6th Mirrorball trophy. For entertainment news, I'm Erica Cadre. Back to you, Rocky.
When was the last time you picked up and read a newspaper? How we digest news is changing from traditional times of reading ink on paper. Reporter Diane Tao is live in the newsroom with the details on the future of newspapers. Diane?
The San Francisco Weekly Guardian recently closed down after 48 years. I went to the newsroom of the San Francisco Chronicle to talk to the managing editor about a possible formula to save their newspaper.
We all became journalists because we want people to consume news that is important to them.
Audrey Cooper is the managing editor at the San Francisco Chronicle, the largest newspaper publication in Northern California. On a good month, more than 25 million people view their websites SFGate and sfchronicle.com. More viewers are reading journalism online than the heyday of print. It may sound like they've cracked the code to success, but how to make money in journalism hasn't yet been tapped. The future of newspaper lies in the hands of young journalists. Journalists such as Larissa Salvatine is taking multimedia courses to stay current with the time. She advised other journalism students to adapt.
Finding a way to switch from being solely print or print-based and finding this or plunging their way into digital media.
On top of being a jack of all trades, gaining loyalty from viewerships is a final equation.
I hope we get to the point where we're very good at explaining to the public why it's important to support local journalism.
How we're consuming journalism is changing, but Cooper said that just because the newspaper industry is changing doesn't mean it's going away. Live in the newsroom, I'm Diane Tao. State of Events, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Diane. Coming up on State of Events, new stadiums and old nicknames. Sports Report is up next.
And later, a new mural is bringing some color to San Francisco. Michelle Quintero will show you where after the break.
I'll tell you why one NFL owner is being compared to the former Clippers owner Donald Sterling. I'm Ashley Keene, and that's coming up on State of Events.
The American Cancer Society Discovery Shops are a chain of unique retail stores that help fight cancer.
I shop here because it helps save lives.
Their proceeds have helped fund over 40 Nobel Prize winners.
I don't just shop here for the designer clothing. I shop here because it gets me involved.
You can find everything from clothing and jewelry to furniture and collectibles.
I shop here because it matters.
And for the great deals.
Much has been done, but we still need to do more. Discover for yourself. Discovery Shops.
Welcome back to State of Events. I'm your sports reporter, Oscar Maciel. Well, for decades, the name of Washington's NFL team has been controversial. And after all this time, no changes have been made. Reporter Ashley Keene tells us why it's taking so long for something to be done.
Yes, Oscar, polls have shown that a majority of the fans think the name should stay, although some American Indian groups feel that the name is racist and highly offensive. Racism is not viewed lightly in the sports industry, yet the controversy surrounding Washington's football team name seems to have taken a back seat. The team's owner, Daniel Snyder, has refused to even consider changing the name. Some have gone as far as calling him the Don Sterling of the NFL. In an interview with USA Today, he stated, "We'll never change the name. It's that simple. Never. You can use caps." In another interview, Daniel explained his point of view.
The name of our team is the name of our team, and it represents honor, it represents pride, it represents respect.
Critics argue the name is nothing more than a racial slur. Andrew Jolivet, chair of San Francisco State American Indian Studies, said, "This, in my mind, is not only an improper way to honor American Indians, it is also disrespectful, dehumanizing, and a reminder of the genocide that took place in this nation over the past 5 centuries." President Obama recently stated if he were the owner, he would think about renaming the team. The battle is not over for those who support the change, and they remain hopeful something will be done. I'm Ashley Keene, State of Events, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, the Raiders and their new head coach are still hunting for a win. Tony Sperano and company are 0-6 on the season. They hope to catch the W in Cleveland against the Browns. Meanwhile, the Niners have a bye week, and they sure could use it. Peyton and the Broncos saddled them with an embarrassing loss of 42-17. Well, drama of a different kind landed on a San Francisco soccer field. It also landed on camera, but video of a simple dispute highlights a problem with local parks, a problem San Francisco voters can help resolve in the upcoming election.
This field has never been booked. Okay. You don't understand. This field has never been booked. The last 3 years.
This argument between kids and tech employees over field access went viral. The video highlights tensions between locals and members of the tech community. But it also emphasizes the need for functioning parks in San Francisco. Mission Field is known for its new synthetic turf and evening lights. The city plans to add turf and lighting to other parks with the help of voters. Proposition I would allow the renovation of the Beach Chalet soccer fields in Golden Gate Park. The city would install over 300,000 feet of synthetic turf along with lighting. But the Coalition to Protect Golden Gate Park is offering their own measure. Prop H would keep synthetic turf and lights away from the park.
Dust.
Prop H supporters believe synthetic turf is potentially harmful to children. If both measures pass, the one with more yes votes wins out. Some say Prop H will keep Golden Gate Park beautiful for visitors, while others say Prop I will give residents more places to play.
Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. You can download the voter information guide by visiting sfgov.org. That's sfgov.org. And speaking of your civic duty, don't miss the NBA opening day on Tuesday, and be sure to catch the Warriors and Kings on Wednesday in Sacramento. While the still very new Memorial Stadium in Berkeley has been rewarding for some, but has also caused some mixed emotions since reopening 2 years ago. Reporter Katie Welge has more in this live report.
Cal's football stadium reopened in 2012. It was a $321 million project that lasted nearly 2 years to complete. Many seen and hidden changes were made to the stadium to make it safer in an earthquake. 1923 was when the original Memorial Stadium was built. The stadium attracted thousands, as it still does today in 2014. Renovation began back in 2010, and the goal of the stadium was also to maintain the original look. The stadium is widely famous for its location on the Hayward Fault, and also of their amazing views of the San Francisco Bay. Due to its location on the fault in 1997, it was declared unsafe by the city. The new stadium has attracted so many new people, and fans seem to really enjoy the beauty of the new stadium.
These are a lot better than the bleacher seats because you can, I don't know, because you can get up higher, it's easier to see see the entire field.
And you aren't in the end zone, so you can actually see what's happening.
The center line is like 50 times better at least.
As much as fans enjoy the physical aspects of the stadium, major changes were made in case of an earthquake and for safety. Since the opening on December 5th, 2013, Cal and Kabam Inc., a mobile gaming company, announced their 15-year partnership that renamed the field Kabam Field. Whether some refer to this new name or not, it has been an adjustment for most. I'm Katie Welge, live in San Francisco, State of Events. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Katie. San Francisco is known for its liberal activism, and the city is home to immigrants from all over the world.
Many of those people came from Latin America and made their mark in the city. Michelle Quintero visited an important landmark in the Mission District and shows us how people celebrated its 30th anniversary.
The Balmy Alley murals were created by artists as their way of protesting U.S. intervention in Central America. One of those artists was Raymond Batlan, who was one of the initiators of the mural project.
Myself and then another artist, Mujeres Muralistas, Patricia Rodriguez, we talked about doing something in San Francisco, and then we were standing right here in the alley, and we said, well, let's do something local. And we decided, well, why not in the alley, right?
To celebrate its 30th anniversary, organizers decided to revisit some of its history.
It was a year-long project where we interviewed and did a bunch of research. We interviewed about 15 artists who painted in Balmy Alley in the early 80s.
The celebration included art, live performances, food, memorabilia, and the unveiling of a restored mural.
The Balmy Alley represents a safe space for artists to express the shared struggles of their people. And now that many of these people are leaving the neighborhood, the artists are working hard to preserve their memory. And by maintaining these murals, they are hoping to forever leave their stamp in the community.
Many organizations came to show support for the cause.
We work in accompaniment with the people in El Salvador and fighting against U.S. foreign policy, which has been keeping the people of the region impoverished and has been playing a large part in why people are forced to migrate.
And everyone seemed to be having a good time.
Just enjoying the commemoration of the the restoration of the mural that was done so many years ago by very influential and well-known mural artists.
Reporting live from the Mission District in San Francisco, I'm Michelle Quintero, State of Events.
Thanks, Michelle. Well, that wraps up State of Events for this week. I'm Victoria Elanese.
And I'm Rocky Mathers. We'll see you next week.